Hi, I'm Ross from Airsoft, and today we're going to take a look at the Elite Force VFC H&K MP7 Gen 3.
Mach die Fenster runter, denn ich will, dass der Bass knallt. 20 Zoller Felgenrolle mit mir auf dem Asphalt. Du kriegst auf die Fresse und wir klären das ohne Anwalt. Ja, ich geh behindert, also bring mich in die Angst. Mach die Fenster runter, denn ich will, dass der Bass knallt. 20 Zoller Felgenrolle mit mir auf dem Asphalt. Du kriegst auf die Fresse und wir klären das ohne Anwalt. Ja, ich geh behindert, also bring mich in die Angst. Links in der Lunge und die Box läuft auf Maximum. Das ist kein Mainstream, Digga, das ist purer Untergrund. Mama, ey, der Mann mit dem dummen.
This MP7 is being manufactured by Elite Force in collaboration with VFC. It is officially trademarked by H&K, and it is a 1:1 scale replica of the MP7. And this is their Gen 3 version. So they have a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 that has already been on the market for a couple of years now. We took a look at their Gen 1 about 3 years ago, and now I'm happy to take a look at the Gen 3, which they have released, and we have gotten into our shop here. And they've done a couple of upgrades that I think have really improved on what they already had, and we're gonna get into those right now. So to begin, we're gonna go tip to butt on this replica here. Up front, we have an orange metal flash hider. It is 12mm clockwise. So once you take it off, you are gonna be met with a 12mm clockwise thread, which is very different from your typical Airsoft 14mm counterclockwise threading. So you are gonna need a thread adapter if you decide to put something on there that is not built for this replica. Now they do make suppressors for this replica, as well as a replacement flash hider for it, which comes with most suppressors that you order for it. But just do be aware that your threading is gonna be different than your standard Airsoft threads. I will also say that the flash hider has a bit of material here at the base that does not allow you to directly attach their suppressors to the flash hider that it comes with. So you would have to replace the flash hider with the one that comes with the suppressor, so you would not be able to leave the original orange tip on there. So just something to note there. I'll also say that there is a set screw in the flash hider to keep it on there, as well as glue holding it on. It is very well put on there. It is a bit of a pain to get off and remove. So just keep that in mind. Your orange tip is gonna be 12mm clockwise, and it is glued and pinned on there. So just keep that in mind when getting your replica. And then right up front here is gonna be where your battery compartment is. And there is a little tab on the bottom of your front end, which allows you to pull the cap off and access your wiring. And we'll go into that a little bit in the internal section of this video. Now up here we have a collapsing grip. So if you pull the tab down at the furthest end of the grip, you can either collapse it in or have it out like this. It is built into this version of the MP7 rather than having a bottom Picatinny like you would have on other versions. And then on either side, you do have screw mounts for a Picatinny rail attachment. It is gonna be a G36 style rail. You cannot attach a traditional M-LOK or other mounted system to this. You would need a specific mounting Picatinny rail that is made for MP7s or G36s by H&K. So just keep that in mind, that this does not come with your side Picatinny rails. That is something you'll have to get aftermarket. And then up top, we do have a monolithic Picatinny rail that goes across the entire upper of the MP7. This replica does not come with iron sights. So the past models have come with iron sights on them. This one does not come with it. So you're just getting this monolithic rail here. If you want iron sights, that's something you're going to have to pick up on your own separately. And then we get into our main trigger grouping. So we have our bolt release up front here. This is a working bolt release. If you pull your charging handle back, it will lock back your dust cover, allowing you to adjust hop up and then hit that bolt release, and it will send it back forward. Going a little bit further back, we have our selector switch. It is in safe, semi, and full auto. And then all the way down here by your trigger guard, you do have your magazine release. And all of these features are ambidextrous, so you can access them from either side of the replica. And then as I stated, we have this charging handle back here, which is also ambidextrous. It is quite a small charging handle, but that is to par with the MP7s. And if you pull that back, as I said, it will reveal your hop up and allow you to make those adjustments in there. We then have a button back here, which allows you to retract the stock in and out. You do have several positions for this stock. Once it is fully out here, this is actually the shortest position, and then it extends a couple more further. You can cut notches into your stock to allow it for different positioning. That is something that has been seen on both real MP7s as well as plenty of replicas. So keep in mind that is a modification you can do, but out of the box, this is going to be the shortest configuration with the stock extended. Obviously, you can run it with the stock completely collapsed as well. And then on both the left and right side of this guy, on the front and back, we have little sling mounts. They're just little divot holes in the side of the replica that allow for any sort of mounting. I typically see people run paracord through this to give them a bit of extra loop space to actually attach a sling system because you don't really have a lot of room here, but that is available as well. And then last but not least, we have the magazine. So this magazine is a 120 round mid cap, and this is probably the biggest improvement I've seen that they've made since the version 2 of this replica. A big issue I had with their magazines was with the follower that came all the way out, and just the way it was kind of designed in here internally, it got jammed a lot. I had a lot of issues with feeding. Most people immediately resprung or redid the follower in their magazines out of the box. It was kind of a necessary modification to the version 1 and version 2 of this replica. So I'm really, really happy to see that that is something that they have improved upon and fixed. I will also say that we did test this replica with the old version of magazine, and it runs perfectly fine, as it should with those mags. So it is compatible with all of your old mags. However, I do still recommend respringing those and redoing your followers, as the jamming in them just seems to be a pretty consistent issue with this style of magazine. 120 rounds in this size is a pretty impressive feat. So the fact that they've got it feeding a lot better now is something I'm really happy to see. So just keep in mind that you are gonna get a 120 round mid cap with your replica, and it does have this improved follower feature so that you are getting a much more reliable feed and performance out of your replica. So now to talk about some of the other big changes, which are mainly internal. The gearbox is OEM'd by VFC. It is their micro gearbox. It is a proprietary gearbox for the MP7. However, it does use a standard version 2 motor as well as hop-up system and barrel. So you can do some standard version 2 modifications. However, the actual micro gearbox itself, they do recommend taking to a professional service center to work on it, taking it to a technician who knows what they're doing with these builds, because they are a bit more complicated than your typical Airsoft V2 replica. And then same goes for the MOSFET that's installed in here. It is a specialty job MOSFET, so if you need to work on the MOSFET in here, I do recommend having a professional take a look at it instead of working on it yourself. But at the end of the day, it is your replica, and I implore you to figure out how it works and really learn the ins and outs. Just be careful opening your gearbox and messing with MOSFET settings, anything of that nature. Because the MP7 is a unique internal system that you don't often see outside of this replica. And then this gearbox does have a quick change spring out of the back as well, so you can access that by removing your back plate here via the 2 pins on the body of the MP7. And once you remove that, you can have access to the back of your gearbox, and you can do a quick change spring swap. So that is a really good feature to have as well, so you can switch between indoor and outdoor play with your PDW style replica. The other thing I will mention about internals before going into the main updates they've done since the version 2 is going to be your battery up here. This guy is wired to Tamiya, and as I said, it is up in the front of your handguard here. They recommend their 11-1 LiPo that they have. It fits in there nicely, albeit a little bit snug, so if you start to get a little bit of puffing on your battery or damage, it could cause a harder fit in here. I'll also say that you want to make sure you're careful with your wires and make sure you're not pinching anything when doing your battery placement. However, the 11-1 in this guy does make it rip really, really well. It is a very zippy sounding replica that shot very nicely for us. So now the main differences between the version 2 and this version 3 here in front of me internally is going to be your tappet plate, your nozzle, your piston, and your MOSFET, as well as the updated magazine. So a big issue that people saw on the older generations, especially some of the first batches, was the tappet plate breaking. And that was kind of the main culmination of replacements when people got these replicas, was replace your tappet plate, either immediately or when it breaks, because it will happen. They have done a reinforced tappet plate in here, so that should no longer be an issue. Time will tell. I will also say that they have done a lot of adjustments with the MOSFET, allowing you to really perform with this guy a lot better. One of the main things they did is they removed the cutoff feature. You no longer have an empty mag detection in this replica, which I think honestly is a great thing. The empty mag detection was something that was just kind of minorly infuriating, and especially when the magazine and followers would not feed properly, just didn't work 100% of the time. So it was a culmination of a poorly feeding magazine, a bad tappet plate, and a MOSFET that had a cutoff feature that really made this replica kind of a pain to run when it didn't want to work properly. But when it does want to work properly, it ran really, really well. So I'm really, really happy to see that the Gen 3 has fixed those issues and really addressed it. And I think it shows a lot to Elite Force and VFC in the fact that they are willing to update this model and this replica and come back with more renditions in the future, and continue to improve upon it. I would be super excited to see if a version 4 comes out, and if they continue to go further with more upgrades. I think something like a brushless motor in this guy would be really, really cool to see, especially for kind of a CQB setting. So let me know what you guys think about the VFC Elite Force H&K MP7 Gen 3. I'd love to hear your feedback, how you feel about the updates they've done since the version 2, and if this is something that you'd be considering picking up. And that's all for me, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.